we go. Right, that works. Okay. Alright, so to start off, quick introduction. I know you started out doing auto tests, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you did that instead of like hill climbs or racing on track?
Well, basically, it was the only thing I could afford.
Alright.
When you're hill climber or racing, you need quite a bit of money to be successful. A big proportion of the success is down to the car. If you want to win and things like that, you've got to have the right car.
Alright.
With auto testing, I think the emphasis is more on the driver, and you can take a fairly ordinary car and do quite well and get a lot of satisfaction out of doing it on a very cheap budget. And I actually was a rally co-driver for 3 or 4 years, and would have liked to have done some sort of driving, and I was navigating for a garage who sold me a trade-in, very cheap car, and I started doing auto tests with that, and very quickly started being successful locally. And over the next couple of years I represented my region on national events, and eventually I won the British Championship. There's 2 British Championships, and I won both of them twice, and from that I got sponsorship to go rallying. I still didn't have any money to pay for the rallying, but my success in auto testing brought me to the attention of a manufacturer, and I did a national championship, and from that I won a works drive to do international rallies, but at the same time I started doing demonstrations. I'd been asked to show off my tricks in public, because the auto testing sort of teaches you a few different things to what you would rallying or racing, and they sort of lent themselves to a show environment. So in 1985 I did the international events, and at the same time I was doing my displays, but my sponsorship to do the international events ended because the person who won the championship the previous year, he then got my drive. I couldn't afford to keep going, so I decided to go full-time at the displays, and it just snowballed, and it became my prime source of income, and developed very quickly over the next couple of years.
How did that transition happen from competing auto tests, and like was it just after you won the championships, garages and dealerships asked hey, can you do some...
my first display was on a rally, and they wanted somebody just to entertain the crowd during the lunch break. It was a single venue event, and they swapped the stage around back to front, and there was about an hour break for the marshals, and I just went up and down the stage doing handbrake turns and spins, and people really enjoyed it. And from that I got invited to do a display on the British International Rally in front of tens of thousands of spectators. So I developed the display a little bit more, and that went down really well, and as a result of that I got enough. There was enough demand to go full time at it, so it was quite a natural progression, really. But what I was doing was different to what anybody else was doing, so that was the appeal.
Right, I just want to get a bit of filler for like the introduction. So what year did you like take part in your first? Did you drive for your first event?
I started driving in 1971. I think I did my first auto test. But it wasn't until 1982 that I won the British Championship. So I worked at it quite hard, and by that time I'd gained a lot of experience. And it was actually at the time when I was British champion, I got asked to do my first display, so 1982, and by 1985, when the rallying dried up, the sponsorship for that, I had enough work to carry on. So from 1986 I've been doing this full time.
But your first demo event at that first local rally, that was 84?
81 that was 81, actually. It was Rothman's when they were sponsoring the rally team.
Fords, right? I think.
There were Fords, yeah. It was Harry Vatanen
Yeah, okay.
and there's a chap called Dave Richards. I don't know if you've heard of Dave Richards, who was involved in Formula One. And
is he Pro Drive?
Pro Drive, that's exactly what it was. Him. It was called the Rothmans Rally Sprint, that event, and that's the event where they asked me to do a display in the lunch break, and then they also sponsored the stage on the RAC rally, which was the big one I did after that, and they sponsored that stage.
You did RAC?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What car did you compete in?
Vauxhall Nova. I was the works driver for Vauxhall Nova in 1985.
Who was it? Colin McRae?
Colin McRae. I was on the same team as Colin McRae at the time. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Because he started off on a Nova. Because I developed the Vauxhall Nova for Vauxhall and they became a very popular rally car. And then Colin started. Well, he started auto testing. Colin, that's why Colin was so good, because he was a very good auto tester, and that all those little sort of quirky little things that you can either get you out of trouble on an auto test. You can relate them to rallying, and a lot of rally drivers won't do auto testing. It's a little bit too technical, but it really does stand you in good stead. I made the transition from auto testing to rallying quite easily because of the sort of the skill I'd built up doing the auto testing, really. But it was sort of when I stopped using the Nova in '85. Colin was he was using a Nova then, and then went on very quickly to establish himself as the man.
Quite a big age difference, though.
Yeah.
You and him.
Well, I mean, there wasn't at the time. I was only 35 years old at the time. But he was probably 17, 18. Yeah. So. Yeah, but he was. I was too. By the time I'd got to rallying, I was too old to sort of to make a career out of it. But fortunately, the career I've made, age doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. So.
Okay. Wow. Okay, that's fascinating. Time permitting, I would like to
you
pick your brain
on,
about
no,
that afterwards.
No problem,
All right. So, which was your first time you were contracted to do your demonstration, not for a live show, but for a recording, like I guess for a TV advert? Right.
Well, I was driving for Vauxhall because of my connections with the rallying, and in 1987, Rover, or Austin Rover at the time, were sponsoring the British Grand Prix, and the British Grand Prix wanted me to do a display for them in front of the 150,000 people. But Rover were the main sponsor. Now Vauxhall weren't giving me cars permanently to do my shows with. I had to borrow cars for each individual event. And I said to Rover, I said, look, if you'll give me cars permanently, I can be out every weekend doing displays with these cars. I'll do the British Grand Prix for you. I said, but I'm not going to do just a one-off event for you because I don't want to upset Vauxhall. And they said, yeah, let's go for it. So I did the British Grand Prix for them in 1987. Their advertising agency saw my display and said, wouldn't that be great to use all those manoeuvres for a TV commercial? And that's when the Montego, I don't know if have you seen the Montego?
That's the one,
yeah, where I came up with the parking manoeuvre.
In the office car park.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well, that was '88. We did that in February. It'll be 30 years next month since we did that. And that really launched my career, and especially that parking manoeuvre. We came up with that because we had another ending plan, but they wouldn't let us use it. It was too fast and too exciting for a TV commercial. So I came up with that manoeuvre at the last minute, and we spent an extra day shooting to get that manoeuvre in, just in case they wouldn't let the other one go. And it was the best thing that could have happened, really, because that sort of became my trademark move, and nobody'd ever done that before, and it really caught everyone's imagination. And that's what first brought me to the attention of this part of the world. A car manufacturer had seen the Montego advert and contacted somebody and said, do you know anybody who can do this and the parallel parking manoeuvre? And the guy knew me, and he got in touch with me, and they brought me over to Malaysia in 1989. And that was the first time we came, and we visited Singapore at the time. So that was our first time in Singapore, but we did a couple of tours of Malaysia in 1989, 90. But because of that advert, I got asked to go all over the world, basically, and that really sort of skyrocketed my career, really, and then it's never looked back. So
And so in that Montego advert, when the guy who got out of the car had his jacket stuck, is that you?
No.
Oh, so that's the actor.
It's an actor, yeah. But you can see when the car's on 2 wheels, you can see it's me. I've got a wig on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually applauding at the window at the end when the guy does the attacking window. So
right.
yeah.
I need to look out for that because
Yeah.
I've only ever seen the first time I ever saw you had grey hair already.
Right. Yeah.
So I've not seen pictures of you like back when you were
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. How important are, I'm going to ask this question because of a tyre sponsor. How important are tyres when it comes to doing your shows? Like, is there a specific preference for the type of tyre, whether new or used, or high performance to like more comfort or economy oriented tyres?
Well, we don't need really grippy tyres because all of my display is all about the car sort of sliding around and breaking away. So if you have too much grip, you don't get the smoothness with it. It's too snatchy and it's very hard on the car. So we tend to put the narrowest tyres possible. Now it's very difficult. You notice that this car's on 225s, which is quite a wide tyre, and we're on Yokohamas, which are quite a grippy tyre as well. So it's getting more and more difficult all the time because of how cars are configured to have wider tyres all the time. I don't need an awful lot of grip. I need reliability and I need safety. I need to know that I'm using a reputable brand, so that. But most manufacturers, there aren't any bad tyres really. But I don't go for performance tyres, and I would always put extra pressure in the tyres to make them break away a little bit easier.
Like 300 kilowatt kPa.
Well,
35 psi.
I would normally, in this car, probably has about 3 bar in the tyres.
I don't know the conversion.
With pounds per square inch, that would be about 50-60 pounds.
Wow!
But that car is the one I go on 2 wheels.
Yeah. The blue one?
Yeah, that'll have 90 pounds per square inch in the tyres.
On the side that you're on?
Yeah. Because if you don't, the tyres deform too much and becomes very sort of squidgy on the steering. But it keeps the carcass rigid, so you get a better feel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then stops them rolling off the rim. When you go onto a sidewall, you would hit the rim on the ground if you didn't blow them up hard.
Okay, wow. So generally, but do you, when you go for your shows, do you specify to the organisers, right, narrow tyres and the less grippy compounds?
Yeah, well, Manyan, who is about somewhere, my chief mechanic who's based here in Singapore, he comes all over the world with me. He's been to Hollywood, wherever we go for Subaru, he prepares the cars for me, and he knows exactly what I want. So he will find the narrowest wheels and tyres that will go on a car, and he sets the cars up exactly how I want them. But we've been together 17 years, so we have a very good understanding and a great relationship. As with Motor Image, I mean, this is our 17th year. I first did the Singapore Motor Show for Motor Image in 2002, and we've been all over Asia.
Even the years when they weren't in Singapore, they were still around the region, right?
Yes, well, even though when the Singapore Motor Show wasn't on, I was performing in Manila, and every year we perform 3 times in Malaysia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand.
Wow, that's a huge schedule.
Yeah, we normally have about 14 events a year for Motor Image.
Wow. Okay. Like, how many tyres do you go through each show?
It all depends on the surface. Now here we'll probably do, how many shows we've got? 10, 40, 17 shows and a rehearsal. We'll probably go through 2 or 3 sets of tyres, that's all, because it's so smooth. If it was stony and abrasive,
a regular tarmac?
Well, regular tarmac's not too bad, but some tarmac has stones in it which are quite sharp, and there's some car parks where I would do a display where I would struggle to get 1 show out of a set of tyres.
Wow.
The surface makes that much difference.
Wow, alright. But you don't wet the ground?
No, definitely not. When this ground, sometimes here we get rain coming in through the side, and this is just like ice. Yes. If there was rain, if that was wet out there, I wouldn't be able to drive on 2 wheels. It would just slide straight from under me. It really is. There's no grip on this smooth concrete when it's wet. It makes my display very, very difficult.
Yeah, I understand if it's like the grip levels are different, but even if it's on your outdoors and outdoor event, and tarmac.
Yeah, tarmac's normally not too bad, but this smooth concrete, when that's wet, is.
But even on the more abrasive surfaces, you don't wet the ground.
No. I prefer completely dry all the time. If it's wet on normal tarmac, it wouldn't be a problem. I would still drive on 2 wheels, and I would do everything in my show, and I will do everything in my show here, even if it's wet. But it would be very, very tricky.
Okay.
But normally on a normal tarmac surface, I would do everything still. But the wet tarmac makes the car slide easier, but you can be less accurate. With dry tarmac, you can actually work the car and get grip when you want it.
Okay.
When it's really slippy, you're sort of a passenger a lot of the time.
Right.
You're waiting for the car to stop.
Okay.
Whereas if you've got grip, I can sort of use the handbrake or the foot brake or the steering or the accelerator to manoeuvre. When I do that parallel parking manoeuvre, we did a thing in Boston in America where they used a really high speed camera and slowed it all down.
All right.
And within 1.5 seconds, apparently I'd made about 100 different adjustments with my hand and my feet.
Wow.
Just sort of just like that.
Micro adjustments.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I'm unaware of. But that's the secret of being able to do what I do. Yeah, it's got to be in your subconscious. You've got to be able to do it instinctively rather than give it any thought, because if you have to think about it, it's too late.
Okay. So, like, do you have any like, if someone like me, young, and maybe in the same position that you were in the 80s, I wanted to say, how would you turn this in stunt driving into a viable business?
Well, I mean, you'd have to have the skills to start with, and you'd have to get into some sort of motorsport or have some sort of facilities. Where, I mean, I was practicing, and in those 10 years before I probably did my first display, I was doing this sort of thing every weekend somewhere. It was an obsession.
Right.
And that's the key to it. I mean, I still enjoy it. That's why I'm still doing it now.
Doing it every weekend in events, or like practicing in an empty car park or something?
Events. I would. In the UK, there's an auto test event every weekend within an hour's drive of where I would live. So I could, I would just find the nearest event and do it.
Where did you grow up? Or where
Yorkshire, North Yorkshire, Northern England.
All right. But these events were like pretty much all over the country.
Anywhere in the UK you can do an auto test every weekend.
How much would entry fees be?
Oh, insignificant.
50 quid?
No,
less than
15.
That. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you'd maybe use 2 gallons of petrol, and you'd use second-hand tyres. I always had a sponsor, tyres that weren't completely wrecked, but people were changing. They would let me have those. So it cost me nothing.
Yeah, wow. In Singapore, like, you do a Gymkhana event, there are only like maybe 5 to 10 a year. There are 2 main organisers, and they do about 5 each a year. And each entry fee is about $200, $250.
Well, I would never have got to the level of skill that I got to if I was only doing it that infrequently.
Okay.
I think that's what has made me able to do what we're doing. Really, my background, auto testing, it's fairly insignificant in the grand scheme of things of motorsport, but without it, I would never have been able to make a career out of this. I mean, there's lots of people imitating what I do and sort of doing similar sort of things, but without the auto testing background, they wouldn't be able to pull it off like I do. It's consistent.
Okay. Right. Before I ask the question, I've seen my battery's a bit low. Let me swap out the battery first. Okay. But yeah, I've gone through like probably 3/4 of my questions already, so it's not too much longer. See,
yeah, no problem.
Would you prefer like turn on the aircon or something, because you are so sweaty?
Well, yeah, it just. I don't mind if it's. Are you okay?
I'm alright like this. But I think for you. Alright.
I get sweaty anyway. It's I change my clothes every show.
Alright.
So I normally have about 5 different changes of clothing every day.
Okay.
I've got a bit of a cold as well.
Oh, alright.
It's very cold in the UK. It was -4 when I left the UK yesterday.
Oh, and this is considered really cold for Singapore.
Yeah.
Were you here yesterday?
We arrived at 4 o'clock yesterday. Yeah.
PM.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed the big drama. There's like flash floods.
I heard about it. Yeah.
Yesterday was one of the colder ones.
Yeah.
Right. So, hypothetically, if someone wanted to someone wanted to hire you for like a big party or like a big event, how much would it cost to hire you?
I probably wouldn't do it now. I'm fairly, you know, at the time of my career when I'm happy with the amount of work I do now. I've got 4 grandchildren which I like to spend time with. So no, I'm just seeing out my career with Motor Image now, and to be honest, I don't do it for the money anymore. I love the fact that people enjoy what I do. I love working with all the people. I mean, there'll be a lot of very disappointed people when I retire.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not being sort of big-headed or anything like that, but you know, we've built up so many lovely relationships. Glenn Tan, the chairman. I mean, he invited us to his wedding. We were at his little daughter's birthday party last night, and she's 3 now. We were at her birth. We were at, you know, we've been with her at every birthday party, and it's a lovely, you know, it's a fantastic relationship, you know, and I'm thoroughly enjoying, you know, still being able to do what I do and get away with it, basically.
Well, as with regards to fans, I don't know. Maybe your son could take over the reins.
Yeah, well, he's busier than I am. He's all over the world and very, very, very busy. But we're looking to the grandchildren now.
Wow, being granddad. So like maybe not like over the average over the past few years. How many shows did you do a year? Like internationally? When
I was busiest, I was doing 75 events a year.
Wow. Okay. And each event will have like several shows.
Yeah. I was, you know, some weeks I would maybe be at 3 or 4 different venues, but that was at the busiest. It was sort of mid-70 events. But I mean, when the Singapore Motor Show used to be over 10 days, then I would do over 50 shows over those 10 days. It's only
75 events a year.
Yes,
that's more than one a week.
Oh yeah. I'd maybe doing 3 or 4 a week.
Different events?
I mean, one event on the Saturday, one on the Sunday, then something midweek. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. And that doesn't include like if you've been scheduled for like camera work.
Well, if it's one event, that's events. You know, the number of shows. I sometimes maybe do 300 shows a year. Okay. Years ago, I reckon that I'd done 8,000 shows, performed 8,000 shows. I must have performed double that now, I would have thought. And we will do like 20 odd here.
Wow.
This weekend. It soon adds up over 30 years.
And have you done work for like movie and TV productions?
Not really. Lots of TV, lots of stuff for Top Gear, and there's several things you'll see me doing on Top Gear. And when Top Gear used to do all the live shows all around the world, I used to choreograph all of this for that. And my son has done for the last 10 years, but they've disbanded that now. So
pass you a towel.
All right, thank you. Yeah. So but we do. You know, when we went to Hollywood with Manyan, that was for the World Stunt Awards in Hollywood. And they wanted us to do a live display outside the theatre. Okay. That was. Thank you. But films, I'm too busy. You know, when see films, they want you for possibly a month or 6 weeks or something like that. I'm booked. I wouldn't be able to fit a film in this year because of the engagements I've already got with Motor Image, you know, and not that I'd want to. And to be honest, this is far more fun. There's a lot of hanging around and a lot of sort of doing things that don't necessarily need me on movies. And the movies have a tight-knit community of stuntmen who are very protective of their jobs, and they wouldn't. I've tried to sort of get involved in the past. They don't want me in there because they'll be showing up for what they are. I mean, because stuntmen, you can't get on the stunt register just by being a driver. I only do driving. I don't do anything else. But to get on the stunt register, you've got to be instructor proficient at 6 or 7 different skills, like sword fencing or you know, horse riding, and I just do the driving. So at one time I thought that was the way to go, but It is. I mean, this is my niche really, and
Yeah.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's, and I can pick and choose. You know, I just work with the people who I enjoy working with, and sometimes, I mean, you see what's happening with the film industry now. I mean, I don't know if you've had much to do with it, but it can be a hard school in movies, and some of these directors are screwy.
Because I've seen, like, my impression of like stunt drivers is, I mean, those in movies at least, I see a lot of the stunt people doing the driving now is they are like professional drivers or drifters or rally guys, and you know, I don't believe they do like, you know, fight scenes or sword stuff, or they stick just to the driving. So yeah, I was wondering that, you know.
Right. I think it is changing now, but I gave up on it years ago. I know there's you know, the people who do the James Bond films, and you know, but there's a lot of. I started calling myself a precision driver. I don't really call myself a stunt driver at all, and I've never called myself. I know they've got it labelled here as a stunt show, but I don't think I'm a stunt man at all, really. But yeah, you're right. You know, and nowadays, I mean, there's you know, people who, I don't know, just making a name for themselves really, and getting away with it. And a lot of people sort of say that they can do everything I can do, and the people who book them don't know the difference really. It's all down to price, you know. If people can say they do everything I do, and they'll, you know, do it for nothing just to get the job. So you know, doing what I do, I don't have to compete with anybody really.
Okay, and I guess we're near the end already. Like, do you have any intentions, like, before you retire, to go for one more Guinness record? Because your parallel parking's been taken away.
I'm not interested. I did it. You'll always get that, and to be honest, they don't do it the same as I did it. You know, they've gone away from the parallel parking. That isn't the way I parallel park. When I came, I did a full 180 degrees and into the space, and now they come in sideways and
like a bit more 90 degrees.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and I mean, if anybody wants to be, all I do by setting a Guinness World Record is make other people famous, because it gives the opportunity for other people to say, oh, I'm better than him.
Alright, yeah.
And they aren't necessarily. I'll defy anybody to beat me at the parallel parking. You know, I know the guys who've got it at the moment, and I don't know. They're
not. I guess not quite as pure.
No, they're not. No, they're just. Yeah, they're making a living out of saying they're better than, you know, they've beaten my world record, and you know, I'm not. But it doesn't interest me in the slightest. I did it for entertainment when I did it. It wasn't to have the Guinness World Record. I did it for the TV program. They wanted me to come up with something as a record. You know, I'm more proud of coming up with the idea and let you see other people imitate me. To be honest, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's the greatest form of flattery. When if, you know, people imitate what I do, then I'm proud that I've given those people the opportunity to make a name for themselves.
Alright, okay, last question. What would you do, right, if comes a time when you no longer have this, when cars no longer have this?
Well, it's getting there now. It's you know, these other cars. I mean, we could rip the console out and put a hydraulic one in there. Right. And we've explored those sort of avenues. I sent a kit over from the UK, a hydraulic conversion that would go in something like this, because I know the Impreza, most of the Imprezas now have an electronic handbrake. But all these things like ABS and traction control, in the time I'm doing it, they've all come in, you know, and we've always managed to get round it.
Pulley fuses.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then, like, what's the largest vehicle that you have or you will work with? Because I remember seeing, I think on one of the James Bond films in Roger Moore era, they did the old Route Masters spinning it around.
Yeah,
I know big vehicles is possible, but like, what's the biggest that you've had?
17-ton 6-wheeler truck. It was a Steyr truck in Austria. I drove it on 3 wheels. But you know, 7.5 tonners. I've done several. Is it 7.5 ton? Do you have those here? Or they're quite a big.
They're quite large lorries.
Quite large trucks. Yeah, I've never done an Arctic, but people have done Arctics. But the trailer is just like it's like sheeted over. There's no weight in it whatsoever. It just follows the cab. but I've never. But that's the sort of thing you do for movies. That's a big project, right? But
wow, big 7.5 ton lorry. That's.
Oh, if you go on YouTube for truck,
okay.
you'll see me driving trucks.
I haven't seen a truck one. I was expecting you to say something like some American SUV at most.
Oh no.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But the first one I did, I mean, when I first did it, it was 1989, and the truck at the time had very crude steering, and I gave myself an ulcer. I made myself ill driving this thing because the steering was so bad.
Okay.
It was really scary.
Heavy?
Not just heavy, but a lot of play in the steering. The modern trucks have rack and pinion steering, whereas the other ones had like steering boxes, and it wasn't a consistent feel, and it was very, very difficult. But later trucks I've driven have had rack and pinion steering, and they've been no problem.
Okay. I think that's I'll wrap it up.
Good.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
It's no pleasure, it's all mine.